Hey, everybody, welcome to the Star in Focus podcast. I'm your host, Deanna Oakes, and we have with us today Dina Farbman, who is a transcriptionist. How are you, Dina?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us today. It looks beautiful. Where are you?
I am in Lake Piru, California,
Ooh la la.
or technically Lake Piru in Piru, California.
Okay. And I know a little bit about you already, so why don't you tell our viewers and or listeners what it is that brings you there? Because you're a little bit of a nomad, yes?
I'm a big bit of a nomad. I've been living as a digital nomad for almost 6 years now. Um, and my boyfriend is a work camper, and I'm a transcriptionist. Um, and his latest gig is working at Lake Piru. So I get to come along for the ride and be in this amazing, beautiful setting. And it is amazing. We've only been here about a week and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. The background is very fun. Probably one of the best I have seen for sure on a Zoom call, I will say.
I'm glad we weren't talking from Wickenburg because I love Wickenburg, but it's not for everybody. It is very much desert like. And that was where we spent a stretch very recently. Like we came basically from Wickenburg to here. That's in Arizona.
I was just gonna ask, I've never even heard of
Yeah.
that. So yeah, okay.
It's a
So,
little rodeo town.
oh wow, okay, interesting.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's one of the pleasures of being a transcriptionist, right? Is that you work entirely online.
absolutely. All
So,
I need is a good connection, and I've been very, very lucky. I've had good networks that I've not really had a problem at all.
that's amazing. And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you don't even have to have a good connection the entire time, right? Because aren't you downloading files and then you can just work offline?
Yes, except that my personal style when I'm transcribing is um, if I have to look something up, if I have to research a name or something, I really like to do it when it comes up because otherwise it just sort of niggles in my head and it slows me down. I make more mistakes, so I'd rather just like get it out of the way.
Yeah,
So I do need the connection to do my research.
for sure.
Um, in a pinch, I will. I have a style that I like to work for 45 minutes transcribing, and then I take 15 minutes and I go back and proof it so that I'm not stuck with a 3 hour job that I have to listen to again.
Sure.
Um, so if I don't have the connection, then I'll like draw on limited resources in that 15-minute stretch and I'll get everything done, or go to a cafe at the end and do it there or whatever. But like
Yeah.
I said, that rarely happens.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into transcription.
Oh, so I started transcribing. Well, my first transcribing experience was when I was in high school. My father was a psychologist, and his secretary was unable to do his. He would do these psychological reports, and he would dictate them, and his secretary would transcribe them. And she wasn't able to do some, and so he said, "Hey, you want to do it?" And I said, "Sure," and fell in love with it immediately. And then jump ahead a lot of decades later, I moved overseas and I didn't speak the language of the country, so I couldn't really get a job. And I discovered legal transcription when I was there and absolutely fell in love with it. I transcribed for a few years for that company, and then I became a quality control manager for them. And then I did that until about a year and a half ago. I'm like, no, I want more control over my life. And so I went back to transcribing, and it was never a question like, well, what will I do? I'm like, I love transcribing. I miss transcribing. I want to go back to it. And I still love it.
That's awesome. I mean, it is so cool just to have that kind of freedom. And especially nowadays, that's what people want, is to have the luxury of setting their own schedule. And
Yeah.
obviously, you are embodying that. Now, I know you have a child. Are they interested in transcribing?
My daughter will transcribe. She doesn't love it,
Okay.
but she's a court reporter. She is an
How did
AERT
I not know that?
certified court reporter, digital court reporter.
Okay.
She grew up watching me transcribe. So she grew up in the industry. And it was so funny. Like, she knew if I had the headphones on, she couldn't talk to me. And right through from like, I mean, she was 5 when I started, and she was, I mean, she's 24 now. She would come and sit at my, like, by my desk, or maybe like later when my office was in my room, she would sit on my bed and she would just wait until I noticed her. And so, I'd keep typing away, and then I'd be like, okay, now's the time I can stop. What's up?
Right.
So she really grew up knowing the whole, the stories of, like, the fun of it, but she doesn't have the patience to sit and transcribe. But she is a phenomenal court reporter. She
That's awesome.
absolutely has that perfect personality for court reporting, and she loves it. So it's really funny because I would always be the one saying, "Oh my God, this story, this the transcripts, they're stories.
Totally.
The story of this is like blah 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 blah," and now she'll be like, she'll send me text, "Oh my God, the story of this." you
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
it's fun. We get to share it with each other, and
Yeah,
it's super good.
absolutely. I would say the one thing that I hate about court reporting is that I don't get to learn the other side of the story, right? Like when that does happen, when you are taking multiple depots and you do get to see plaintiff and defendant, that is always exciting because, you get and like I said, then the other side, you didn't see it coming, it's like they built such a good case, but so many times with like, I need to know what happened. I need to know like where is this going? Who said all that
100%.
stuff. Yeah.
It's I have this sense of, I've watched a million movies, but only 15 minutes of it, and I don't know how it ends.
What?
You know?
Who does that, Dina?
But that's how I feel. I get these middles of these stories. I actually recently worked on a very long-lasting trial, and I happened to also get to transcribe the verdict. And I was so happy I heard the verdicts, because I'm like, finally, this was like an epic 10-hour movie, and I
Yes.
watched it to the end.
Yes. You got your closure.
I got
Absolutely.
my closure.
Okay, so tell me more about why you don't finish movies. What's that
Oh,
about?
no, no, no. I finish real movies. I finish real movies. It's
Okay.
just, I get a
I see.
really juicy transcript, and it's like,
Yes.
I
The
didn't get to see the
comparison.
beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the end. I
Yeah.
just have this juicy bit that I want to know how it turned out.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, yeah, some of them I'm more than happy to be like, I don't ever want to hear whatever spondylolisthesis, which is always the word I go back to because there's just too many syllables in that word. Like, oh my God, I never want to hear it again. Or like someone's, I'm trying to think of like what are things that you're just like, I want to put this to rest, maybe
Yeah.
someone's voice or their cadence or
There's
something.
really dry ones. I'm not a fan of real estate cases because I really couldn't care less.
Yeah, yeah. Contract is hard. Contract law, I feel like, is really
Yeah.
just
I mean,
so
I feel
man.
like I'm doing my part. I'm helping somebody. Somebody needs this, and I'm
Like,
helping them, and I'm not gonna skimp. I'm not gonna be like, well, I don't need to prove this one. It's so boring. I do all the same,
right.
high quality,
Yeah.
but I think, I'm so glad this one's over.
Yeah. They can't all be bangers, they can't all be Hollywood scandals, but those
Right.
ones are
Right.
entertaining for
Yeah, I'd
sure.
like a Hollywood scandal every now and again.
Yes, definitely. I was just in one last week where I was dumbfounded. There was, you know, escort pictures and I was just like, "Whoa." You
Oh,
don't see it coming, right? When you're just like, "Oh my God, I will mark this. Oh, I can't believe this." Keeping a straight face too. I feel like that's what's really hard sometimes as a court reporter is trying not to like react.
And that is why I'd make a lousy, lousy court reporter. Not only would I want to react visually, I'd be like, excuse me, that could, what you're trying to find, I think you'll find it over here, or whatever. I don't know.
Yes, yes. Oh my God.
I have such a hard time not talking, not being part of the whole proceeding.
Same. That's the worst when you're like, one is saying there are two ships in the night. You're like, no, you guys, let me help you. Oh, it's so hard. Yes. I feel like I've had that happen where you almost like I've almost said something, and I don't know, like for me when something is scary or I get a feeling in my feet, like if you're falling, and I had that happen so many times. I was like, oh my God, did I say that out loud? Oh, your feet are tingling.
I'm very much an educator. Like everything I've done in my life, I've been an educator, not necessarily a teacher. In fact, I've never been a teacher, but I'm an educator.
Sure.
And in my relationships, I'm an educator. And there are a lot of times where I'll say something and I'll be like, and you already know that, but I'm compelled to tell you, it's like, it's just who I am.
Yeah. To
So
remind
yeah,
you.
I couldn't be
Definitely.
a reporter. I'd be like, "Let me ask you about this."
Yes. Let me
I
help
might
you
say
out.
this fun fact, but that's still not appropriate.
Right. Totally. So, what is your favorite thing about being a transcriptionist if you had to choose a favorite?
A favorite. I really like that even though the job is the same every day, the
Yeah.
job is different every day because you're listening to a different story.
Yeah.
You're meeting new people. It's learning. I love learning. I'm not just an educator. I'm a learner. I love to learn new interesting information. And so like I think that's really it. And I don't have a piano. I used to play the piano. I learned to play the piano when I was very, very young, and I really loved it. And I really feel like typing for me is like playing the piano, especially on a keyboard. On a typewriter back in the day, not so much because it was a different movement, but I find myself sometimes swaying to the rhythm of the speech.
Interesting.
So whatever that is in my brain, it satisfies that.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I mean, I get the sensation and all of that for sure. That
Hmm.
makes perfect sense to me.
When I get in
So,
my groove.
yeah, definitely. And people certainly have a cadence to the way they speak for sure. I feel like for me, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but certain people are easier to capture than other
Hmm.
people. And
Hmm.
you have that as well?
Absolutely. And, if- I always assume that a job that I'll be able to do 10 minutes of audio in an hour, because it's got to be really bad audio to be worse than that.
Yeah,
But sometimes it's 20 to 30 minutes of audio in an hour, just because people aren't talking over each other, and people are talking clearly and linearly, and it just goes really smoothly, and I can find my rhythm, and I don't have to question myself, and I don't have to like, yeah. Actually, I just learned something new about myself. I type faster and more efficiently when either my eyes are closed or I'm looking outside the window.
interesting. And you know what? That's so fascinating because there is like, I don't know, hashtag not a scientist, but like, I'm pretty sure for some people, if you have like something going on, it's almost like playing music in the background or something. If you have something else to focus on, it like
Hmm.
helps you isolate. I don't really know because again, I'm not a scientist, but I have heard things along those lines that like you need
Yeah,
something else than just this one thing. You have to have something
yeah.
also to
And,
do.
and I think what I know it does for me is that I'm not seeing my mistakes. And I mean, you're transcribing on Word or Word Perfect, and it's telling you what's wrong, and it will fix all those things for you also if you let it. You don't have to go back in that moment and
Right.
fix it. When
Right.
I see that red squiggly line, I want to go back. And I
Yeah.
hold on to those even though I'm
Yeah.
not actively thinking about it. It's weird. I can feel like I'll be like, there's something up here that I missed that I need to fix.
Yeah.
And that distracts me. So if I'm not looking at it, then I'm just listening, and I actually, I don't need to go back on, the foot pedal, you back up on the audio. I don't need to do that as often because I don't have that much to think about except what I'm hearing. And just,
Right.
either the eyes are closed or I'm just looking at, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
working. The other day, I discovered that my view includes a series of rocks that look like a little girl praying at her bedside. And there was
Wow.
a lizard on her hip, a real lizard. And so
Right.
I was watching that lizard while typing, and I was rocking that transcript.
Nice. That is so interesting. And I mean, it makes sense to me. I feel like it's the same as, somebody who clicks their pen constantly or whatever, right? Like if you just have
Hmm.
something else to engage, yeah. And then like you said, I can totally relate with the like knowing that there's something that you need to come back to and how it's like a chip on your shoulder almost. And that's fascinating to just see how is this something that you've been doing for a long time or you just realized it?
I just realized it. And honestly, I think it was probably I was tired and I'm like, "Ugh, just close my eyes while I'm listening. I don't need to look."
Yeah.
I think it was just something like that. It's only been, I'd say, less than a month that I've been doing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
You know
cool.
what? It probably actually coincides. We upgraded. Me and my boyfriends we each had a van. We met on the road in our vans. And about 2 months ago, we bought a Class A. And when we were looking for a new rig, the criteria was I had to have a place that was my office that didn't take over the whole place because he needed to have his space while I'm in the office.
Sure.
So my office is um, is the passenger seat.
Okay.
My The dashboard literally is flat like a desk and 2 feet, 3 feet deep. It's crazy how big it is. So I've got my second monitor up there. I have my computer on my lap, and I've got a beautiful view. Now, I will tell you, I've been working long days lately. And
Yeah.
like I said, we just got here about a week ago, and we have a neighbor who I'm staring at their rig because that's where they're parked. That's how we're parked. It's just, it has to be. Apparently I've been sitting there for so many hours and so so long, I mean, not moving, that my neighbor thought that we had a stuffed doll on the passenger seat. He's like, and I'm looking, you have the same shirt. I'm like, you noticed that I didn't change clothes today? I mean, like, that's a Nomad thing. You wear the same thing 2 days in a row. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah.
And I had the doll had sunglasses. Well, my sunglasses are actually my regular glasses. So yeah,
Right,
I'm
right.
like, no, that's me. That's
That's
me.
hilarious.
It's still there after dark. I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's me.
Yep, that's my
But
life.
that's my office, and I get a great view.
That's really cool that you have made it work. I feel like it's such an inspiration because there are so many people that really do just want to travel, and this is, I mean, to me, I know that I need to have certain things, but in theory, right, in my idealism, like that just sounds like so incredible and inspiring, truly.
You know, you don't have to be a full-time nomad. And that's the great thing. You also don't have to not work. You can take a long vacation. You can take a summer and travel and
Yeah,
still work. I
absolutely.
mean, it's real. It's Working from home is super, super flexible, and I absolutely love it. And I love meeting other nomads who are also working from home. I haven't just randomly met somebody who transcribes, although I know transcribers who are also nomads, but
Okay.
first before.
Right,
I
right.
haven't
Yeah.
just met one around here.
So, what are some of the jobs that other nomads have?
Like customer service. I mean, you think about it, I went out on the road right before before COVID hit. But
Sure.
then COVID hit, and a lot of people came out on the road. A lot of people. They
Yeah.
sold their houses, they bought rigs. A lot of them since gone back. But, a lot of them took their jobs with them, and it became really possible. I mean, you know, lawyers are working from home on Zoom. Why do they have to, I mean, depending on the kind of law they're practicing, I guess, why do they have to actually be in a single place?
Yeah.
They don't. You
Yeah,
just need a good
exactly. They
connection,
don't. Yeah.
which T-Mobile and AT&T, in case anybody's wondering, have good connection.
Oh yeah, because you use a hotspot, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
I'm
Have you
actually experimenting this summer with US Mobile. They actually go between all the three major networks
okay.
and are so much less expensive than I'm currently paying on T-Mobile. So we'll see how
Okay.
it goes.
Yeah, I mean that's good information. We like to know all of the
Yeah.
gadgets and shortcuts and all of the things that help people. So I haven't even heard of US Mobile. I swear, sometimes I feel like I live under a rock.
No, I hadn't either. I was searching, I was where we are now only has AT&T. I've had T-Mobile for literally 15 years and 100% unlimited hotspot. Like they don't even know how to sell that anymore. It's such an old product.
Right.
Um, so I'm not going to drop it until I know this actually works.
Yeah.
Um, but I have a visible phone, which is on Verizon lines, and that's always helped when I was somewhere that T-Mobile didn't work. So like when I was at Yellowstone, I used my visible phone because they only have one tower in all of Yellowstone, and it's Verizon.
Sure.
Um, and I couldn't find something like that, and I'm like, why isn't there an AT&T version the way Visible and Verizon work? I went, that's what I need to search. So that's what I searched on Google, and it came up with US Mobile. And I'm like, all right, let's give it a try.
Yeah, I mean that's great
45 bucks a month.
information. How much is it a month?
45 bucks a month for their best plan, which is like unlimited talk text data and 100 whatever bytes of hotspot, megabytes, gigabytes, whatever it's measured in.
But that's more than you've needed. You haven't gone over?
I don't know yet. I can't even really test it. I can't even test it just yet. I'll test it starting next week, because right now my boyfriend and I are sharing the one phone because he needs
Right.
to get a SIM card, and
Right.
Nomad life. There are
Yeah, yeah,
always
yeah.
challenges.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
what makes it interesting. There's always a new challenge around the corner, and you learn from it. And you go, okay, I'm flexible. I can
Yeah.
do this, and I can do
Definitely.
this.
Yes,
So,
the
yeah.
reaction is all that matters, right? Like how we react to things. But I think that's really valuable information because, we hope to, here at Star, right? Like we hope to reach out and teach people about what opportunities are out there in our industry. And so I think that's really valuable information for people that maybe are interested in doing something like this and need to know, thanks to your expertise and maybe hardships, that, hey, this, if you're going to go to Yellowstone, you can't, use your
Get a
hotspot
visible
without this.
phone first
Yeah, that's
for
really,
30 bucks a month.
I would not have even thought of that. I would have just assumed that I could take right, because I've had the same phone line since I was 18 years old. And so I've, gone to other countries and not had a
Hmm.
problem. You know what I mean? So I
Yep.
wouldn't have even thought that, oh, maybe you can't get service
There are
anymore.
definitely spots.
Yeah.
But since I had it at Yellowstone, since I had the visible, not only was I able to, somebody, oh, so my office there was at the Old Faithful Lodge, I don't remember, one of the Old Faithful hotels. I had a
Mhm.
view of the Old Faithful geyser, and people would always come in waiting until it was about to erupt, and I'd see this confused look on their face, and how are you getting online? And I'd say, oh, I've got visible. You can tap into my hotspot. And I helped so many people get on and like be able to read their mail. But the cool thing was, I also got to show my mother, my coworkers, the Old Faithful erupting. I just, I
Yeah.
my death. Well, I shouldn't even put it in quotes. there was a desk facing it, and I just took that desk all day, every day, and I would just take my computer and turn it around so they could see Old Faithful.
That's cool. That's really cool. What a good experience. And wow. How long were you there for?
We were there, I think, like 4 months. Um,
Holy cow. I thought you were going to say 4 weeks, which is a long time. 4 months is
for
incredible.
4 months. Again, my boyfriend was doing work camping there, and so it was the summer season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
we
Man.
got there when there was literally like 6 feet or more of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Um, and then we left, I think, Labor Day.
Okay. I'm really grateful too that you said 6 feet because I feel like whenever with like the news, the weather, and they're like, oh, there was, 6 inches. And I'm like, it's up to my knees. How is this 6 inches? Like, who is measuring this? I don't understand. But it's
I
never
don't
the
know.
same, right? It's never like actually what it looks like.
Right. Well, all I know is that before we got there, someone who we all called the mayor, apparently, like everybody, everywhere she goes, just automatically calls her the mayor because she just knows exactly what's going on immediately.
Yeah.
Cool person. But she had gotten people to dig out the parking spaces for us.
Oh, nice.
Um, and so there was a 6 foot bank of
Oh,
snow.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And like we had to dig out to get to the electric. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it
I
was
can.
it
Yep.
was amazing. It was so much snow.
Yeah,
Not
but that
plowing.
is so inspiring. I really do need to follow in your footsteps and do some work abroad because I think I'm scared of it for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's the worrying that I'm not going to have the connection or I don't know. I mean, there's just
So come caravan with me for a couple weeks. Rent a
oh,
rig and come caravan with us.
that would be such a good time. I am definitely going to pencil that into my life goals for sure.
Okay.
That is awesome. Well, I feel like I could talk to you forever, but we did say that we were going to have a hard cutoff because I mean, this isn't why, but it is a beautiful day and you should definitely go and enjoy it. But
I
I'm,
feel like I do need to take a walk.
yeah, it's lovely out there. I'm so grateful for you taking the time to chat with us. I've learned a lot. I'm sure our listeners have learned some stuff too. And I feel very inspired. This is very cool.
Yay. I had a great time. I really appreciate you asking me to join you.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Dina. All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.